My therapist said I needed to go no contact, so I did, and my family exploded. My parents, let's call them Ann and Gary, weren't the type to hit. But they didn't need to. They had other ways of hurting you. Guilt. Silence. Sarcasm sharp enough to slice your confidence in half. Growing up, I never felt safe. Not physically, emotionally. There was always something I had done wrong, even when I hadn't done anything at all. And then there was my brother, Kyle, 30M. The golden child. The prodigy. The saint. He could crash the family car, and they'd find a way to blame me. I could win an award, and they'd ask why Kyle didn't get one too. By the time I was 19, I had a near-constant pit in my stomach. I thought it was normal. I thought everyone was anxious and exhausted and ready to cry at the drop of a hat. Spoiler, they're not. The breakdown. Fast forward to age 25. I'd moved out years ago but still lived in the same city. I'd see my family for birthdays, holidays, random guilt-tripped Sunday dinners. Every time, I left feeling smaller. It finally hit a breaking point at Christmas 2 years ago. Kyle showed up late to dinner, drunk. He made a few nasty jokes at my expense, about my weight, my job, my single status, the usual. I told him to knock it off. My mom jumped in, "Don't ruin the holiday. He's just joking. Stop being so sensitive." Then my dad added, "You always have to make things about you." I stood up and left. Drove home in tears. I was shaking so hard I had to pull over on the side of the road. The next day, I booked my first therapy session. The wake-up call. Therapy was like someone handing me a flashlight in a cave I didn't know I was in. I started recognizing patterns. Gaslighting. Emotional manipulation. Parentification. I learned phrases like low contact, enmeshment, and trauma bonding. I remember telling my therapist something like, "I just want to have a normal relationship with them." She replied, gently but firmly, "They don't want a relationship. They want control. And they use family to justify it." She didn't tell me what to do. But over the next year, the message became clear: I had the right to protect my peace, even from people who share my DNA. Eventually, she asked, "Have you ever considered going no contact?" I had. But I was terrified. What would they do? What if they turned the rest of the family against me? But more importantly, what would it feel like to finally breathe? The goodbye letter. I decided I needed closure. So I wrote a letter. Not angry. Not dramatic. Just honest. I told them I was going no contact. That I needed space. That I wasn't doing it to punish them, I was doing it to survive. I sent it by email. Then I blocked their numbers. Blocked them on social media. Changed my emergency contacts. Warned my landlord not to give out my info to anyone. And then, silence. For about 3 days. The explosion. On day 4, my cousin Jenny messaged me on Instagram. "Your mom is freaking out. She said you're sick and need help. What's going on?" Then my aunt called my work. Then Kyle emailed me from a burner account saying, "If you don't talk to mom, I swear to God I'll come to your apartment." Then came the Facebook post. My mom wrote a long, vague, self-pitying rant about how some people let therapists poison their minds against the ones who love them most. She never said my name. But everyone knew. Suddenly, I was the bad daughter. The ungrateful one. The drama queen. I lost touch with cousins. Some unfollowed me. Others reached out with fake concern, trying to get info. My dad emailed me 3 pages about how this family raised you and gave you everything. He ended it with, "One day you'll realize how cruel this was. No one. Asked what they had done to push me away. The peace. It's been almost a year now. They haven't changed. But I have. I sleep better. I laugh more. I've built friendships that aren't based on guilt. I started painting again. I started feeling like a real person, not a walking wound. Sometimes, yes, I miss the idea of family. The Christmases. The traditions. The illusion that we were ever okay. But then I remember, I never felt safe with them. I felt obligated. There's a difference. I've since learned I'm not alone. There are so many of us out here, the black sheep, the quiet escapees, the ones who finally said enough. The update, because there's always one. A month ago, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. It was from my mom. It wasn't an apology. Not really. It was more like emotional blackmail wrapped in faux regret. I hope you're doing well. We miss you. I wish you'd talk to us. I never meant to hurt you, but you've really hurt us too. Family is everything, even when it's hard. We can work through this if you come back to us. I didn't respond. I showed it to my therapist. She said. Notice how she never acknowledges what they did. Just how you're hurting them by not letting them keep doing it. That hit me hard. Where I stand now. I'm not writing this for sympathy. I'm writing it because someone out there needs to hear this. You are not a bad person for going no contact. You're not cruel. You're not broken. You're not selfish. You are allowed to say, this hurts too much. I need to walk away. Even if they explode. Even if no one understands. Even if it means starting over completely. Because sometimes, the only way to survive, is to stop playing a rigged game. She showed up at my door, crying, begging, manipulating. I was doing okay. I mean, not perfect. You don't just walk away from your entire family and feel nothing. But for the first time in my life, I had peace. I had space. And I had the beginnings of something I never thought possible. Self-respect. Then, one rainy Wednesday in April, everything cracked open again. I was working from home when someone knocked on the door. I live in an apartment with a security system and don't get unexpected visitors, so I checked the camera before opening it. It was my mother. No umbrella. Soaked through. Standing in the rain with a trembling paper bag in her hands. The knock I feared. I didn't open the door right away. I watched her on the screen. Part of me felt a familiar ache, the one that always wanted to be the good daughter, the one who wanted to make her proud, who wanted to be enough. But I also remembered the letter. The gaslighting. The Facebook rant. The years of quiet emotional starvation. After a long pause, I opened the door just a few inches. She looked older, thinner, tired. Her makeup had run. I didn't say a word. She whispered, I had to see you. I didn't move. I'm sorry, she said quickly. About everything. I brought you some soup. I know it's your favorite. That broke something in me. Not because I believed her. But because I didn't. The apology that wasn't. I let her in. I shouldn't have. I know that now. But I was tired, and she looked pitiful, and I wanted, so badly, to believe she had changed. She sat at my table, dripping, clutching that paper bag like it was a lifeline. Then she began the monologue. I've been seeing someone, a counselor. Not every week, but a few times. They told me I need to learn to listen more. And I'm trying. I swear. I know I wasn't perfect, but you weren't either. We both made mistakes. We're family. And family works through it. There it was, the twist. The quiet shift. The blame redistribution. I said, carefully, do you know why I went no contact? She nodded. Because you let your therapist convince you we were monsters. I stared at her. No. Because you never protected me. Because you let Kyle belittle me for years. Because every time I cried, you told me I was too sensitive. Because being around you felt like drowning. She said nothing. Then, finally. I just miss you. The real reason. It took another 20 minutes for her to reveal the truth. She didn't come because she missed me. She came because my dad was in the hospital. Heart issues. Minor, for now, but serious enough that they thought they should inform me. And I knew you wouldn't answer your phone, she added. That's when I understood. The soup. The crying. The apology. It was all just a warm-up to pull me back in. You could have emailed me, I said. She blinked. You could have had a lawyer send a letter. You could have respected my boundary. I didn't know how else to reach you. That's the point. The test. After she left, I sat on the kitchen floor and cried. Not because she got to me, but because I let her. I talked it through with my therapist the next morning. She asked me something that stuck in my brain ever since. What does your heart want to do, and what does your trauma want to do? My heart said, you should visit your dad. He's your father. What if this is the last chance? My trauma said, they're baiting you. Like always. They're using guilt as a leash. Both were right. And I hated it. The visit. 2 days later, I went to the hospital. Not for them, for me. To see if I could face the past and stay in control. I didn't tell them I was coming. When I entered the room, my dad looked shocked. Mom was asleep in the chair next to him. Kyle wasn't there, thank God. He said my name softly, like it hurt to say it. I wasn't expecting you. I nodded. I won't stay long. We talked for 10 minutes. Polite. Hollow. He asked about my job. I lied and said it was fine. He said he was doing better. I nodded again. There was a long silence. Then he said, your mom's taking this hard. And just like that, the spell broke. Not, I'm sorry I hurt you. Not, I wish things were different. Just, your mom's upset. Because it was always about her. And never about what she did to me. I stood up and left without another word. The aftershock. The next morning, Kyle emailed me. Can't believe you came and didn't even say hi to Mom. You're so heartless. This family tried everything to help you, and all you do is punish us. I didn't respond. I forwarded the email to my therapist. She responded with one line. Not all guilt is yours to carry. The release. It's been 4 months since that visit. No more unannounced doorsteps. No more emails. No more letters. I made it clear, I gave them a moment of grace, not a pass back into my life. They'll never understand it. But I do. I understand that boundaries don't make me cruel. Distance doesn't make me cold. Silence doesn't make me broken. It makes me free. Final thoughts. If you're someone sitting in the aftermath, shaking, doubting yourself, wondering if you're the villain, let me tell you this. Sometimes, your peace looks like walking away. Sometimes, the most radical act of self-love is saying, I will not be hurt anymore. Not even by the people who say they love me. And that's not heartless. That's healing. My father died, and they tried to pull me back in. I didn't cry when my dad died. Not when I got the news. Not when I saw the missed calls. Not even when Kyle left a voicemail saying, he's gone. I hope you're happy. I didn't feel anything at first. Not numbness, more like quiet detachment. The kind you feel when you watch a building collapse in the distance. You know it meant something once, but you're too far away to feel the dust. The truth is, I had already mourned my father years ago. I mourned him every time he chose silence over support. Every time he stood behind my mom while she chipped away at me. Every time he told me to let it go, just to keep the peace. So no. I didn't cry. I went to work. I cooked dinner. I vacuumed. I breathed. And then the text started. The campaign begins again. First, my mom. You should come home. For the funeral. It's what he would have wanted. Then Kyle. Don't be selfish. This is bigger than your drama. Then Jenny, my cousin. Everyone's asking if you'll say something at the service. Say something? What would I say? This man let me drown quietly while pretending to throw me a rope. The funeral pressure. My therapist and I talked at length. I asked her the question that haunted me. If I don't go, does that make me cold? She replied, does showing up for them mean abandoning yourself? She reminded me that grief is not measured by attendance. That funerals are performances, but healing is private. And that trauma survivors don't owe public rituals to people who never protected them in private. Still. I felt it. That guilt. That voice. That old programming. Be the bigger person. But I had been the bigger person my entire life. I was done shrinking myself to fit into their idea of family. So I made a decision. I wasn't going. The fallout. When Kyle found out, he lost it. He called from a blocked number and left a voicemail that I still haven't deleted, not because I want to hear it, but because it reminds me why I left. You're disgusting. You didn't even show up for your own father. What kind of daughter are you? You were always the problem, now everyone sees it. I didn't reply. Instead, I blocked the number, saved the message in a file, and wrote down something I wish I had said years ago. The version of me that accepted abuse is gone. Stop dialing her number. The will. 3 weeks later, I got a letter from a law office with my dad's name on it. I froze. Inside was a formal notice, I had been left nothing. The house. Kyle's. The car. Mom's. The savings. Split between Kyle and a church I hadn't stepped inside since high school. There was no mention of me. Not even a line. Not even a symbolic $1. And you know what? Good. Because now there was nothing left tying me to them. No guilt. No obligation. No tether. Just truth. The unexpected message. But then, something strange happened. A week later, I received a letter. Handwritten. From my dad's sister, my aunt, whom I hadn't spoken to in years. She wrote. I don't know the full story, and I won't pretend to. But I saw how you were treated. And I wish I had spoken up more. I want you to know that not everyone in this family agrees with how things went. She included a photo, me and my dad at age 8. We were smiling. Genuinely. And under the photo, she'd written. You deserved better. The real grief. That was when I finally cried. Not for the man who died. But for the child I used to be. For the girl who kept waiting for someone to see her pain. For the teen who held her breath every time she entered a room. For the woman who finally chose herself. Because I realized, the grief wasn't about my dad. It was about the possibility of who he could have been. The dad I wanted, not the dad I had. And grieving that was real. Where I am now. It's been 2 months since the funeral. My mom hasn't tried to contact me again. Kyle sent a single email saying, Dad left you out of the will because you abandoned him. I didn't reply. I don't owe them anything. Not words. Not space. Not even my anger. I have a new job now. A few new friends. A little community I'm starting to build, people who see me, who respect my boundaries, who don't weaponize my love. And every Sunday, I take a walk. I pass a park I used to visit as a kid. I sit on a bench and write. Not letters to them. Letters to myself. She told me she was sick, but it was just another trap. Last week, I got a call from an unknown number. I never answer those anymore, not since I went no contact. But this time, something told me to check the voicemail. It was my mother. Her voice was soft, almost trembling. I don't want to fight anymore. I need to see you. I'm not well. Please call me. Just like that, my chest tightened. Not because I missed her. Not because I believed her. But because that voice, fragile, frail, wounded, was one I hadn't heard in years. It took me straight back to being 12 years old, sitting on the stairs, listening to her cry and blame me for everything wrong in her life. The dilemma. I didn't call. But I did think about it. For days. What if she really was sick? What if this was the end, and I never saw her again? What if I'd regret it? But then I remembered something my therapist once told me. You're not obligated to return to the fire just because someone claims they've turned off the gas. The message. I decided to send her one message. A single text. I'm sorry to hear you're unwell. I hope you're getting the care you need. Please understand that I'm not in a place where contact is healthy for me. I wish you peace. She didn't reply. But the next day, my cousin Jenny messaged me again. Your mom's telling everyone you abandoned her while she's dying. Is that true? Dying? That's when I finally called the local clinic. I still had access to the patient portal from when I was listed as emergency contact. She wasn't dying. She'd had a mild ulcer flare-up. Was discharged the same day. The nurse even said she seemed in good spirits. So no, she wasn't dying. Just manipulating. The realization. That moment, reading Jenny's message and seeing the truth side by side, hit me harder than I expected. Because it confirmed something I'd always feared. My mother would rather lie about dying than apologize for living the way she did. She still saw me not as a person, but as a tool, a mirror, a pawn, a means to an end. Even illness was just a strategy. Final line. I've blocked her again. Maybe next time it'll be another health scare. Or a birthday. Or Christmas. Or the anniversary of my father's death. But I know this now. Some people don't want healing. They want control, dressed up as reconnection. And me? I want peace. Even if that means never hearing her voice again.